Hey, welcome to Tragick once again. Wow. Well, finally got to do something in the daytime. You can't really probably tell whether it's daytime or not when I record my videos, but most of the time it is at night. This is during the day. I can actually be a little bit, louder, like I used to be. Uh, um, but I don't really have any special reason to do these videos today. Just random videos to put out here. Been trying to watch some movies. Haven't really got to watch some movies, so I can do some reviews. Um, my 14 bands have been the main thing I've been focusing on. Uh, I've not really been in the wrestling thing. I'm gonna find some sort of gimmick. I know I did the wrestler talk where I chose, about 3 or 4 wrestlers and did some talk on them. Um, but basically, this is kind of like an update. Tell you guys what's gonna happen. I think 14 bands is doing really good. I think people like that because I do get some, I believe, some unique visitors because I know I'm not looking at my videos that much. So I do get unique views through the 14 bands and the raw review kind of, but I don't do that great of a raw review. I don't do like a thorough raw review. So I mean, there's really no point for me to do that. Just to talk about wrestling. I guess give you a wrestling update would probably be something that I might just start doing instead of calling it a raw review because it's not really a raw review. It's basically telling you what happened, short and sweet to the point, not giving you the crap in between that people really don't care about, like the Divas division, which I did talk about that in the last raw review. Um, I do like some of the other things I do, but everything's basically gonna be random. I'll try and make a list maybe of like certain things, certain shows that I can do. When I have time, I'll do the videos and I'll just basically add the date to them. I know I did check it out, which that can include anything, like, hey, check it out. Do that video every day if I want to do. So that's about it. Basically just an update to let you guys know what's going on with Brad Tragic. Things will continue to go. Um, Basically, like any other day. Random videos from Brad Tragic. That's what it's all about. So if you subscribe to me, that's what you're gonna get. Random videos. Any day you can get something from me. You might not get anything from me for like a whole week, but then like next week I might post 10 videos or more. So you never know. I know on the days that I'm off work, I usually post more videos because I'm not as tired. So been working long hours at my job, so been really tired lately. So on the weekends, days off, I really do a lot. Decided to get up and record a couple videos. Not gonna get very much sleep today at all anyway, so I was like, I'll get up and record a couple videos. Blah blah blah. Um, I think I might turn this actually into a wrestler talk. I'll talk about 2 or 3 wrestlers right now. So wrestler talk. What I do basically is talk about 3 wrestlers randomly. Last time I talked about Barry Horowitz, Doink the Clown, and I don't even remember what the other one was. But anyway, go check it out if you want to watch the last wrestler talk. Uh, and that's basically what I did. This time I want to talk about a guy called the Brooklyn Brawler. How about that? The Brooklyn Brawler. If anybody remembers the Brooklyn Brawler, Steve Lombardi, man, he was synonymous with being a jobber. He was the most popular jobber in the WWE, basically. Um, everybody's remember, he was the guy with the beat up shirt. You know, I think sometimes he wore like a Yankee shirt for the most part. Real dirty, and he was just that dirty guy, scruffy face, and he almost won the world championship one time, or he almost won, I think, the Intercontinental title one time, something like that. And that would have been awesome. It would have been incredible. I think it was the world championship. I actually think. Um, but man, I mean, I remember that match where I don't remember if it was the world championship or the Intercontinental title, but he came that close to winning that belt, and that would have been amazing if he would have won that belt and actually broke through after all those years. But it wouldn't have been the Brooklyn Brawler if he would have did it. It wouldn't have been, I don't think, credible. Like he wouldn't have been a champion for very long if he would have won that belt because it wouldn't have made sense because he's jobbed the people so many years. So oh, sorry. But throughout the years, there's always been jobbers, and it's like now it's like the past, 10 years, they've kind of did away with it, where they'll just job out certain people, and then it don't make sense. And then, those people that jobbed out, then they end up getting a push later on. So it's just like, what? Like, this don't make no sense. Or they'll just end up getting rid of them. So basically, they weren't a jobber. They were good enough to be an actual wrestler, but they just, used them as a jobber. Which, they might bring them back, 2 years later and decide to do something with them. And WWE seems to forget that, Eric Bischoff, like, straight up says, like, wrestling fans do not forget. WWE writers evidently don't understand that concept that wrestling fans do remember. We remember everything. It's like a true wrestling fan is going to remember, when this guy was Dr. Hack and when this guy was the White Deer. It's like that's what wrestling fans do. We know this. Even if they're under a mask, like we figure it out. We find this out because that's what we do. We're fans of this. So trying to put Brooklyn Brawler putting jobbers in here and then trying to bring them back 2 years later and then repackage them and trying to make them an Intercontinental Champion or something like that. It's like it'll work, but it's hard to you really really are pushing it with that because I don't know. It's just yeah. I mean, the only way that's feasible is maybe if you put them under like an odd gimmick or something, and where it's well, you're not really using them as that character. You wanted to use them as like a goofy character to job them out or something, but still, we're gonna know who it is. Oh man, woo! All right, so the next guy I would talk about is I'm trying to think some random wrestlers, and I can talk about. What just incredible! Holy crap! There's so many wrestlers that WWE has dropped the ball on. Half the people from ECW they dropped the ball on. If you go back and look at ECW, there's a lot of talent there, and I think they missed the ball on a lot of guys. They could have did a lot more. I mean, the Sandman character, if they would have picked him up and actually used him uh, in the WWE, you know, oh god, Sandman would have been amazing. I mean, he could have been, okay, Undertaker is a comic book character. We understand this, but I mean, going to today's era, Sandman could actually have been a comic book character. If you think about it, he could be, the smoker, like Singapore King guy. He basically, doesn't give a shit about anything. He's just gonna beat the crap out of everybody. And they could have entered some sort of weird thing into there, to make you, different. But I mean, they dropped the ball. Like Justin Credible is the same way. Like tag, like I think 2, 3 time tag team champion. Uh, I think he had the titles with he's Impact Players. I think twice. I think they had the belts, and then he had the belt with somebody else, I believe, at one point. But Justin Credible was freaking awesome. I mean, former Aldo Montoya uh, from WWE days. I like that character. They could have pushed Aldo Montoya to be a great, character. They could have gave him the Intercontinental strap when he was in WWE. They just didn't see the talent in him at that time. But I mean, coming from Justin Credible, uh, even TNA dropped the ball on him. So it's like, I don't know. Like when I saw him in ECW, he was really really good, and I think with them not bringing him in with the whole WWE thing, uh, they kind of dropped the ball on that one. Lance Storm, they did a little bit with Lance Storm when he was in WWE, but I don't know if like Lance Storm was getting tired of the business or what, but I just think they dropped the ball on Lance Storm too. They could have pushed him and had him been like a main event player and possibly kept him in the scene for a while. But I think Lance Storm just got burnt out because they kept on doing the same thing with him. Uh, but yeah, uh, and then guys like guys like Rob Van Dam, it's just like they waste so much time on not pushing him. And then they finally push him, and then now we're just getting tired of him because Now, he's getting old. Yeah, he can still move, but man, back in the day, he could move like no other. He could go super fast, and now he's kind of like slowed down his style. So it's like it's not as exciting as what it used to be because people have been telling him to slow down for all this time. It's like now, okay, you did slow down. Now you're boring as fuck. So now he's so boring to watch. He's not exciting at all. People bash him all the time now because he moves so slow. It's like slow motion. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of guys they dropped the ball on. They could have pushed, and now that those guys are old or they get tired of the business, they don't want to be in it anymore. And now we're left with a bunch of people who they have been developed. They don't know how to develop them now, so now all those guys they got over, they're tired of the business and they just don't want to be there because they got underused. They didn't get used right. So now they're stuck doing independent shows because they're old and nobody wants to hire them. So it's just stupid. The business has gotten kind of dumb, and the last decades, writers kind of ruined everything for today's writers because they have no one to write for that can actually do anything on the mic, or like those wrestlers have gone and passed that probably could have done something like with a Hollywood writer or with a soap opera writer, but those days are gone. I could see a guy like Rick Martel doing stuff with like a soap opera writer, a guy like Tito Santana, doing something with a soap opera writer, but they don't wrestle anymore. They're old, they're done, they're past their prime. They couldn't do anything like that because they're retired too. Uh, so I mean, back in the day, I think back in the heyday of the '90s, soap opera writers would have been they would have been great. But nowadays, that it is taking a fly. I'm sorry. You're going from an era to where everything was hokey and all the kids. Yeah, Hulk Hogan's the greatest one ever. To today, where it's like Joe Smith is huge and I'm buff and I'm gonna beat your ass. And my opponent, Heath Slater, well, god dang it, man, I'm gonna whoop him really good. In which they're all athletic and they nobody has a gimmick anymore. It's so stale, and then we get storylines that are like basically well, I beat you up last week. I'm gonna beat you up again this week, and then at the pay per view you're gonna beat me. Uh, it's just like stupid storylines that don't make any sense at all. Really nothing. It's just like coming from a soap opera and trying to write for wrestling. It's like they know nothing about this business. They don't understand the business, and they can't write for it at all. And they do storylines that really don't make no sense. And it's like they're trying to write for a soap opera, but they're missing little aspects that they need to add in. And they'll like sometimes forget about certain things, and they're like, "Whoop, never mind, they won't remember." Yes, we do remember. Wrestling fans remember everything. And it's like botches too. It's like they got all these wrestlers coming in and like, God, I have not heard the word botch in like a long time. I've heard botch like a lot lately, and there's a reason for that. It's because people have been botching like crazy in the wrestling ring. These guys get paid like millions of dollars, or these guys get paid pretty good money to do what they do. So you would think they wouldn't botch as much because if they're botching, then evidently they should not be in the WWE. They need to be taking some time off, or they need to be, get disciplined for that or something. Because I don't care whose fault it is. Whoever's fault it is, they need to figure out what's going on, get it taken care of. Like Jack Swagger, Alex Riley. I don't know whose fault that was. That little move. Jack Swagger took like 8 years to get it up. I think it was Riley's fault. Um, but yeah, I mean, Riley should have been, hey, take a couple weeks off. We'll come back. See if you get it right this time. Alright, well, this has been Wrestler Talk. Thank you. I'll probably do one more video before I head to bed so I can go to work tonight and be all happy, happy. Wee, 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 wee. Yeah, Wrestler Talk, baby.